إمامنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بهديهم ودعا بدعوتهم وجاهد بجهادهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Esteemed listeners, participants, and guests, elders, brothers and sisters, teachers and students, colleagues and friends, disciples and disciples, I greet you all with the greetings of Islam, and we say, Marhaban bikum jami'a. May Allah Azza wa Jal greet you all and give you warm, open arms welcome to all of you. Those who have traveled, those who are locals, those who are online, those who are watching, those who are listening. We even welcome those who may listen to find fault and to criticize and to find mistake and error. Right now, everybody's welcome. Inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The topic of our session, our lecture, but in actuality, I don't want it to be a lecture. Rather, I want it to be a discussion, a conversation, a dialogue. Is going to be on the role of women in building and maintaining an Islamic community. The role of women in building, bringing into existence, finding a community, a masjid, a center, a city, a country, a ummah, a body, a federation, and establishing it, bringing it into existence, and also maintaining it, keeping it strong and keeping it healthy, and allowing it to thrive, prosper, and pushing it further down the road of production and invention for the future. Nur ala nur, light upon light. The light is already there, but then put what? More light on it, being the nice final thought. So that's our discussion today. Now, with the amount of time that we have, is a paramount topic, a very fundamental topic, and also a very controversial topic as well. I think that the best way to begin our discussion is in light of the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. Al-Ayah. Allah says, and thus, Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ, thus have we made you, O Muhammad, or Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, the Sahaba, the companions, or Khadija. Obviously, this verse was sent down a later period, but the concept of the female companions, Salama and Aisha, the wives of the Rasul, the daughters of the Rasul, the wives of the Sahaba. Allah says, and thus have we made you a ummah, a nation, a body, a group, which is wasatan, which is wasat. I want to get into, inshallah ta'ala, what does the word wasat mean? We want to get there, bid'nai ta'ala. Allah said, we made you a wasat ummah. For what purpose, when asked the question? Why? Why did Allah make us a wasat ummah? لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. For you to be witnesses among the people. Witnesses upon the people. For you to bear witness on the people. وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. And for the messenger to bear witness against you. Allah says that we have made you, He speaks بِنُونِ الْعَظَمَةِ. He speaks in the plural sense to show His greatness, His grandness, to show how mighty and powerful Allah is, how wise Allah is, how majestic Allah is. We have made you, and Allah is one, Al-Ahad As-Samad. But He speaks in this way to show His greatness, His power, and His wisdom. Allah says, thus have we made you, O followers of Muhammad, O Muhammad, an ummah, a nation. Allah does not say we have made you families. He doesn't say we have made you tribes. He does not say we have made you into groups and cliques, gangs. He did not say we have made you into small bodies. But He used the word ummah. We made you into a ummah, a nation. And obviously we know in the English language that a nation is the large umbrella under which all other things fall. Different races, ethnic backgrounds, different professions, different classes, different sexes, different professions, different ideologies and views and tastes and directions. But at the end of the day, you're all under one nation. Everybody understand this? As they say, right here in the United States, one nation under what? Under God, indivisible. There are different types of Americans, there are different types of black people, different types of white people, different types of political views, different religions, different faiths. Yet and still, the what? What you're supposed to say in the morning in school is what? One nation, what? Under God. One nation, not one family, not one group, not one association, but one nation, one ummah. So Allah, He says, and this is deep for you to think about the word itself, ummah. Allah did not say we made you families. We made you people who are familiar with each other. No. Allah says everyone is one ummah, one nation. He says, we have made you a ummah which is wasat. And the word wasat is not necessarily translated to mean middle course, or balance, or moderate, as many people may say and may translate it. It doesn't necessarily mean that. Wasat means, as the ulama of tafsir, they say, udulan khiyaran. Udulan khiyaran, which means we have made you an ummah which is just. We have made you a fine ummah. We have made you an ummah that has integrity and equity. We've made you an ummah, not of cowards, us scared and afraid to speak the truth. We've made you an ummah, not of cheats and liars, not selfish and greedy. If a person has bravery, if he's courageous, if a person doesn't lie, doesn't steal, doesn't cheat, then obviously they're going to be what? They're going to be balanced. They're going to be what? They're going to be balanced. Because the strong, powerful man also has to be kind and merciful. He has to be gentle. And if he's strong on one hand and gentle on the other hand, that means he has a what? A balance. So Allah says that we have made you into the best ummah, the finest ummah, a just nation that does not cheat, that does not steal, that is not trying to get over on people. At the same time, you have to eat and drink. You have to live and prosper. So you have to do something, take something, make something. Allah speaks about warfare in the Quran, loss of life, but not a heedless, reckless loss of life. In other words, we're trying to get to one point, and that point is what? As Allah says, we've made you an ummah that's wasat, and that the product of that wasatiyah is balance. Everybody understand this? Someone is a just person who brings a witness to the stand. He doesn't lie, nor does he hide. Nor is he afraid to actually speak what? The facts, and say what he saw, what he heard. Yes, I testify to that. Everybody understand this? Imbalance is to hide the information. Imbalance is to exaggerate in the information. That's what? Both sides are what? Imbalance. But when a person speaks the truth and only the truth based on what they saw, they're not afraid, nor they're trying to injure and hurt the person that they are testifying against. They're proving what? A balance and moderation. So as if Allah Azza wa Jalla says, and thus have we made you, O Muhammad, no followers of Muhammad, an ummah that is moderate. That's neither right wing nor left wing. You aren't zealots, extremists, nor you people that are totally numb and dull from feeling. You have no sensitivity. You have no emotion. Rather, you're right in the middle. Everybody understand this? You're not to be cowards, nor are you to be tyrants. Everybody true in this? You're not supposed to be spendthrifts and people that are excessive and wasteful, nor are you to be stingy and miserly, nor are you to just remove yourselves from the world and say the world has too many problems, let's just step away and not involve ourselves with anything to do with the world today. That's both sides of what? Extremism. The world is not your biggest worry. The dunya should not be your biggest worry. Nor should it be an instance in which it is of no worry at all. And you just don't care about what's happening in the world today. Allah says, we made you an ummah that is wasat. So this ayah here in the Quran Kareem, it gives us a major fundament, a major principle of life in Islam. And that is everything that we say and everything that we do is supposed to be balanced. It's supposed to be balanced. It's not supposed to be leaning on one of the two sides. Right in the middle, strike the middle course. So when we talk about women in Islam, when we talk about women being leaders, we talk about women being led, we talk about women running things, women not running things, men running women. We talk about feminism, sexism, chauvinism. We talk about these different isms and things. We can never ever lose focus on one thing. And that thing is what? What's that thing? Balance. And the moment we lose our balance, what happens when you ride a bike and you lose your balance? What happens when you fall? Scraped up, scratched up, bruised up, bumped up. You get what? You get injured. And it may be a case in which a person is fatally what? Scraped or wounded. Everybody understand this? When you lose your what? Balance. When you lose balance. Everybody understand the importance of balance? Balance is everything. Riding a bike, balance. Anything that you do, you have to keep a what? You have to keep a balance. And when things lose their balance, it goes what? Haywire, as we say. Everything is going to crash and explode when there's a lack of balance. So before we even get into the topic that we said is controversial, I'm sure right here in this masjid and around the world, especially in 2017 today, we cannot lose focus of balance. So, with regards to women and their role in building a community, building a society, building a nation, somebody may say, we don't need men imams anymore. We don't need male imams. That system has clearly failed. That system has clearly failed. It's been years in America, and the men were imams. We don't have a community. We don't have anything established that's firm. So now let's have female imams. Now instead of the men giving the lecture and the talk, let's have the women give the lectures and the talks. They know better. They're more in tune with their senses, with their feelings than men. Men are crude, rough. They're not smooth enough to be flexible enough. They're stuck in their ways. They're more stubborn. The person who tries to tackle this topic from this angle has clearly lost balance. And then we have the other side, the brother who says women don't have, should not have, cannot have never had any role in building and maintaining a community, period. Be quiet, shut up, stay in a home, and listen and obey me, and that's it. That's it. You don't ask about anything that's going on in the masjid. I didn't ask you for your idea. I didn't ask you for your opinion. Who cares about your suggestion? You're a woman, I'm a man. And we'll take care of it and we'll handle it. That person, whether that's a man saying that, or actually a woman may say that, they have also lost what? Balance. Now it's tipped over. It's not balanced anymore. Everybody understand this? But the one who says, first and foremost, when we build a community, when we wish to establish a community, the community is supposed to be built for whose benefit? Just the men? Just the women? Or for what? For all. All of us. So if everyone has to benefit from it, and everyone's going to benefit from it, then it only makes sense for everyone to contribute. We're having a party, a get-together. You bring a plate, she brings a plate, you cook, you bring the coffee, you bring the tea, you bring this, you bring that, and everyone can, and the end can do what? Can eat and drink. Can eat and drink, and there's not a shortage of food whatsoever. But if it's just one person that's cooking, one person that's bringing it, and everyone's expected to benefit and enjoy, then that's a clear hardship. And there's going to be a lack of balance. So from a common sense standpoint, is that when we talk about a community, a masjid, a center, it cannot be geared, it cannot be centered to one sex. It cannot just have one pair of glasses, bifocals, just one lens. No, because there are things that men don't see. There are things that women don't see. Bottom line, Allah tells us, when he spoke about the prophets in Surah Ali Imran, he says, وَلَيْسَ الذَّكُرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. He says, and the male is not like the female. Speaking about Maryam alayhi salam, and when she was born, that the male is not like the female. So Allah says, وَلَيْسَ الذَّكُرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. This ayah that was sent down upon our beloved Prophet over 1,000 years ago is universal and it is total and complete. Any issue that comes up today can go back to that one ayah. The male is not like the female. How you raise your children, time, attention, money, sports, the color of their bedrooms. The male is not like the what? Female. Who matures first? Who's the smartest? This and that. The male is not like the what? Female. And the moment we try to treat the male like the female, there's going to be an imbalance. The moment we try to treat the male like the female, there's going to be what? Imbalance. It's just not the same. No matter what you say, no matter what you're trying to scientifically prove, the anatomy shows us and proves to us is that the male is not like the female. Everybody understands the male is not like the what? It's not like the female. Even people who cross-dress, or people who try to dress up to look like a man or look like a woman, you notice somebody, you see their face, say, that's a girl. You can put on the boots, the jeans, this and that. You clearly see what? That's a what? It's a girl. And the opposite is the opposite. No matter how much makeup you put on, no matter what type of wig, you say that's a man. Look at his shoulders, look at his cheekbones, look at his hands. That's a man. Because the male is not made to be like the female is not made to be like a what? Like a man. Well, they said that could have one fact. Allah says the male is not like the female. They're different. But at the same time, there are similarities. There are things in which they share consistently. And that is understood in the light of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that Aisha narrated. Also Anas bin Malik, collected by Imam al-Darimi and others. They said that the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا النِّسَاءُ شَقَائِقُ الرِّجَالِ أو هُنَّ شَقَائِقُ الرِّجَالِ. That the Prophet ﷺ was quoted to have said in this hadith, women are the partners of men. Women and men are twins. In other words, the rules that apply to men. In other words, the responsibilities that apply to men. In other words, the do's and the don'ts also apply to women. Until something in the Quran, something in the authentic Sunnah, something that the Muslims agreed upon, or something that's proven by common sense, clearly excludes one sex from the other. And this is only for men to do. This is only for women to do. There's a specific responsibility, and that's a specific responsibility. And in the middle, we have joint and shared responsibilities. Or one may say, when one sex fails to carry out its responsibility, then the other sex may have to play two roles. But even at the time of playing two roles, you can never ever do it the way that the original sex was going to do it. Impossible. A single parent home. A woman can work 2-3 jobs. She can buy her son's toys, even the daughters. She can take them places. She can discipline them, holler at them, beat them, take them to school. She can inspire them. She can do so many things for them. She can play both roles. The father is dead, unfortunately. He was killed by drug violence or gang violence. He's in jail for 20 years or 40 years or life. Or he was killed metaphorically by drugs, or whatever the case may be. Whatever the case may be, whatever reason why he's not there. Maybe it's the mother's fault, which is often. You grow up thinking, father left us. Sometimes the father didn't necessarily leave, but oftentimes the mother kicks the father out. But that's a different discussion. What's important is that the father is not there. So no matter what the mother tries to do, it's never ever going to be the same as Abby. Never. Because she's not a man. She can raise her voice and be tough and pound on the table as much as she wants to. It's not the same as a man. And vice versa is vice versa. Abby can take the girls out. He can have his son. He can do this. He can do that. He can take them to the ballpark. He can buy him this. He can do all the things that he wants to do. It's nothing like the same as Ummi's hands, Ummi's lap, Ummi's kiss. It's not the same. He can be a master chef. And it's not the same as Ummi's. Never ever a replacement for both sexes. Everybody clear on this? So a man, he can take his daughter to the department store and buy her clothes, buy her shoes, but the woman's knack for fashion, for discount, for prices, it's not the same. The woman's eardrum, her earlobe is not the same. When a baby cries, man, he can't bear the crying like a woman can. And vice versa. Woman, you can holler your voice, raise your voice as much as you want. You don't have enough bass in your voice. for your children to be afraid and scared of you. That's a reality. And when you hit your son, who's 10, who's 12, who's 13, who's 14, sorry, what is he doing? He says, ow and ouch. But in reality, he doesn't what? It's not hurting. And he's just saying that to get her off of him. It's not hurting. It's not the same as a man saying, I told you to sit down. Boom, boom. In your chest. There's a difference, a huge difference. So this is something that when you are fair and impartial and just use your brain just a bit, it's something that you can't deny. Muslim, Jew, Christian, black, white, blue, and purple. Laysa dhakaru kal-untha. The male is not like what? The female. But that does not deny the reality that there are things that the people share. And that's, as we said, is the proper understanding of the Prophet ﷺ's hadith, إِنَّمَا النِّسَاءُ شَقَائِقُ الرِّجَالِ. The women are nothing more, nothing other than the twins of men. In other words, the responsibilities that the men have, the women have, unless it's proven what? Otherwise. Unless it's proven what? Otherwise. So, let's make an example of this. We have 5 prayers in a day. Or before we go that far, what was the first thing that was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ? اقرأ بسم ربك الذي خلق. خلق الإنسان من علق. اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى إن إلى ربك الرجعى. Allah says, اقرأ, read, in the name of Allah, your Lord who made you, who created you from a cloud of blood, from nothing into this powerful, walking, talking, prideful, haughty, arrogant man. You came from a cloud. You came from fluid. You came from something that's base and mean, as Allah says in the Quran. Mima'in maheen. Water that's base and mean, of no value, of no importance. And now you're a strong man. And you feel that you're what? Invincible and indestructible. So Allah says, read in the name of your Lord who created you, created man from a cloud. So one may say, a woman, I don't have to read and study about Islam. That's just for men. In my country, the scholars are the men. In my country, the Quran reciters are men. In my country, the people who know about Islam, the muftis of my country are men, and never the women. That's only men that have to seek ilm of the deen. We say this person has a total imbalance mentally, and they're not understanding the Prophet's statement, Hunna shaqaiq rijal. Women are twins to men. Men have to seek knowledge, and also women have to seek knowledge. Whether they're going to be the imam or not. They must seek what? Knowledge. I understand this on all levels. There are men who only have to learn the basics of Islam. There's some men that have to be what? A couple notches above. And there's some men that have to be master scholars of Quran, of hadith, of fiqh, of science, and of this and of that. And the same applies to women. Everybody understand this? The exact opposite. A woman with her children. A man says name. He says, in my country, men don't spend time with their children. We don't spend time with our sons, our daughters. We don't spend time with them at all. Period. But we don't spend time with our sons until they're old enough to go outside with us and go hunting and go fishing and go riding until they can become young men. But when they're crying and whining, the little boys, we don't spend time with them at all. They don't know us. They have no interaction with us. Leave them for their mothers. Everyone understand this? As far as our girl children, we don't spend time with them what? Period. No value. Rather, the woman is the one to look after the young boy and feed him and burp him and carry him and sing him songs and pick him up and play with him, gaga goo. Not for men, not for a warrior. That's the obligation of men. Allah tells us in the Quran, the Prophet explains to us the responsibility of looking after children. That's for women. We say this person, this man is also what? Imbalanced. That's incorrect. The obligation of looking after children when they're young, raising them, taking care of them, spending time with them, cultivating them is also upon the what? The men. Except for that which is specific to women. Man can't breastfeed. Everybody understand this? Everybody hearing this? A man can't teach his young daughter how to be pretty and cute and nice and be feminine. That's unbefitting. But he can teach his young daughter how to be strong and brave. He can teach his young daughter what to beware of and what to watch out for. And how it's not okay to kiss boys and to be with boys, whether you go to a Muslim school or public school. Everybody understand this? He can't teach his daughter basic skills of combat. He can't teach his daughter how to respect and look after and how to use weapons. He can't teach his daughter this. It doesn't mean she's a tomboy. It doesn't mean she's this or she's that. She has to know. One day I'm not going to be here. One day you may be by yourself. You have to know how to what? And maybe more than that. Everybody understand this? So this is the cement foundation that we have to lay down, and it has to be solid. When it comes to women building the community, raising the community, maintaining the community, there are certain things that are specific to women. There are certain things that are specific to men, and there are certain things that is what? A joint responsibility, unless one of the two sexes is failing to do the job. So, the masjid is locked for Salatul Fajr. The masjid doesn't have any programs, it's dead. There's no classes, there's no lectures, there's no khutbahs. We barely have one row in the masjid. Where are the brothers at? Where are you at? Sheikh Mahdi. Why is the masjid locked? Tamir, Talun, Abdul Haq. Why is the masjid dead? The sister, she says, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the masjid and open up for Fajr myself. I'm going to go and get someone, my 12-year-old son, to be the imam of the masjid. Because the brothers are dragging their feet. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're lollygagging, as we say. We may not say that down here, maybe up north we say lollygagging. We say lunching, sleeping. So a woman may have to step up and do certain things, not all things, because the men aren't doing it. And the opposite is the opposite. No sisters in the masjid. Where are the sisters in the masjid? Why isn't there a sisters halaqah? A sisters book club? Why is there nothing established for the women in the masjid, the sisters? Nothing. Just sisters who come to the masjid and sit and talk, that's it. So a brother, he may say, I'm going to initiate it. I'm going to bring my daughters and my wife. I'm going to start some activities for the sisters in the masjid. Because the women are what? They aren't doing it. And in most cases, the human being will become inspired and motivated, or at least embarrassed, when someone else is doing a job for them. Damn, let me get my act together. This is embarrassing. The sister's there waiting outside the masjid, beeping the horn. I need a key, brother. It's embarrassing. Or the exact what? Opposite. The brother does something for the sisters. He establishes something for the sisters. Says, where are you at? Home, watching TV, talking on the phone, gossiping, backbiting, whatever you're not. What you're doing is you're not supposed to be doing. But if that's not the case, then everyone's supposed to be what? Working together. You play your role, I play my role, and we play our joint roles together, collectively. And if you happen to slip down or fall, get injured, then I'll get off the bench and play your role. But I'm not an expert, though. That's the thing. Is to know your value. I'm not a what? I'm not an expert. The baby is crying. I'll pick up the baby. I'll walk with the baby, sing with the baby, but I'm not a what? I'm not an expert at this. I'm just a partner at this. And vice versa. And what? And vice versa. Once we understand these general basic principles, and it's just a few ayat and a few hadith, many, many more, everything becomes easier and simpler and more realistic and more practical. Everybody understand this? Men have responsibilities. Women have responsibilities, in the middle there are what? Joint responsibilities. Everybody understand this? So, as we say, getting to the nitty-gritty, getting and actually digging into the topic, what is the role of a woman in building and maintaining a community? I think that topic itself is incorrect. There is no such thing as a role. There's no role of a woman in building a community. There are roles. Never singular, but always plural. Because a woman is a wife, she's a mother, she's a sister, she's an aunt or an aunt, she's a grandmother, a great-grandmother, she's a mu'allima, a teacher. How many, if I ask you guys right now, what Quran classes are here at the masjid? How many sisters know Quran or Arabic? The sisters that don't know Arabic but know the basic surahs and juz. How many classes here for the sisters? No, right now. Nuh alayhi salam, he called us people for how many years? وَمَا آمَنَ مَعَهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ, Allah says. And only a few people believed in him. Everybody understand this? Consistency. So the point is that a woman doesn't have no role. Rather, she has several roles. just as a man does. He's a husband, father, imam, muallim, staff, coach on the field, softball coach, football coach. This is a reality. But now we're talking about the women. There is no one role. Rather, every woman is going to have to play more than one role. Everybody know this? I have my 2 young daughters. They're my daughters, and they're also my friends. They help me out. They look after me. They keep their eyes and their ears open for me. Everybody understand this? And there's much more than just my daughters. It's much deeper than just father and daughter relationship. Everybody understands? And at the same time, they're also my sisters in this family. And that's deep if you think about it. The woman that you're married to, your mother, your sister, your aunt, is not just your flesh and blood, she's also your sister in Islam. She's your sister in Islam. Everybody understand this? So therefore, women have roles in building a community and establishing a community. Where would you like to start? With regards to the household, which is considered the foundation of the society and of the community. And there has never been a people who are destroyed and demoralized and demolished physically, mentally, and spiritually, except that one of the earliest points of attack was with the women and the household. Where do you want to start? With American history? Southern history? Where would you like to go? Up north, the inner city? What movement, what epidemic would you like to deal with? Crack, cocaine, heroin, Vietnam War, mass incarceration, slavery? Where would you like to start? And how the woman was one of the main focal points of attack. We cannot destroy these people and take them out and demolish them to nothing unless we turn their women into whores. We turn their women into fashion mongers. Until we turn their women into men. Kill all the men, lock all the men up, have all the men strung out on drugs, send them to fight a war that they have nothing to do with, a war for a country which they don't share equal rights in their own country. And then it forces the woman to now become a man. And the more a woman leans towards being a man and playing the role of a man, every hour of acting in the role of a man, she's losing what? An ounce of her femininity. She's losing it until not much is there. As far as the men, they're simple, they're easy. But the women, they are the first teachers. They are the first instructors. They are the first role models of the children. If she's mentally wrecked, if she's totally ignorant, if she's a spiritual shell, then obviously the wound is going to be what? Whack at her. But it doesn't have to go that deep to religion. Let's just talk about food and drink. What was one of the common cliches taught in the 80s and the 90s of young people? You say you're a what? He's a what? It's a crack baby. In other words, your mother had you and she was smoking drugs. She smoked drugs. Was she eating right? Was she drinking right? Was she sleeping enough total? Of course not. And it had a profound effect upon what? On the womb. So the baby comes out of the womb and it's already, the deck is already what? Stacked. It's already a compromised situation. Everybody understand this? So the concept is that a woman is the first line of defense. As a mother, as a teacher, as a role model. Where does a young girl learn how to be flirtatious? And how to be loose with men? And be sassy? And have no respect for men? She learns that from who? Not from men. No way. She learned that what? From her mother. That every time we go into a store, my mother's flirting and laughing and touching a guy. Everywhere we go, my mother is getting a ride or a service or some type of help from a strange man. Meet my friend, Brother John, Brother Akbar, Brother Abdullah. A year goes by, she has 3 or 4, 5, 6 different friends or husbands. It's a revolving door. And we go example after example after example. For the situations which aren't as bad as this and extreme as this in this land. Where does a young sister learn how not to wear the proper hijab, to have my hair out, and to wear tight clothes and perfume and makeup and high heel shoes and wear pants outside of the house? She learns that from her mother, before the father. And even if the father is instructing her to do something, she is going to look at the mother's actions, because actions speak louder than words. So, the mother, the woman, is the first teacher, the first instructor. She is the very first role model for that child, male and female. Everybody understand this? So therefore, this goes back to the men now. If you don't teach your wife anything, right, you hinder your wife from knowledge, what do you expect your children to walk like? Everybody understand this? If you don't protect your women folk and look after them and make sure they're safe and sound, physically, spiritually, and mentally, then they're going to be attacked by these wolves. Whatever the wolf is, a black wolf, a white wolf, a Muslim wolf, a Christian wolf, a Jewish wolf, a wolf. It's going to tear the sheep to pieces and shreds. Everybody understand this? So we have to realize that the role of the woman in establishing the community starts in the household. Everybody understand this? And that's why the Prophet told us, as Abdullah ibn Umar has narrated, the authentic hadith in the Sahih, he says, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ. He says, each and every one of you are shepherds. وَمَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. And he's responsible for his flock. He mentioned the Imam, the Khalifa, the ruler of the Muslims. And he also mentioned وَالْمَرْأَةُ رَاعِيَةٌ. She is a shepherd in her home. And she is responsible for that home, for that household. And that's another problem. When we don't understand that verse, where they said, male is not like the female. We have some men who wish to interfere and put their hands on every single small and big issue of the household. And that's incorrect. Your job, Akhi, is to pay the bills. Your job is to make sure that the refrigerator is full, the freezer is full, or if you have fresh meats or cured meats, whatever. Your job is to provide, to protect, to set up. The design, the decor, the schedule, this and that, that's for the what? It's for the woman. And the moment you start infringing and interfering and sticking your 2 cents in everything, it goes what? The balance is lost. For several reasons. One, because she feels this is the little bit of authority that I have. You're already what? You want to take this from me too. Let alone the fact that the male is not like the female with regards to what is good and what is bad in the household. Everybody understand this? And the same applies to a masjid in a community. It's not the job of the sister to do this or that, but certain things it is her job. Give it a woman's touch, as they say. Whenever you want something nice, say let women do it. When I was in Toronto, maybe over a year ago, I went to a center there, a big center, a famous center, and the head of the center, knowledgeable brother, he said, you know what? He says, whenever I want something done, and I want it done the right way, in a professional, clean way, he says, I get the women to do it. I get the women to do it. You don't see them, you don't know where they are, but know for sure they set this up. The itinerary, the program, the schedule, He says, anything that I want done professionally for the masjid in the center, he says, I get the akhawat to do it. They do it. They go and ask them a job. The brother, he misspells your name on the ticket. Muhammad Hamid with an O. Miss your flight. Wallahi. The brother, you get to the hotel, oh, it's the wrong hotel, it's a smoking room. Oh, it's a hotel, it's you needed 2 beds, I only got 1. I know you have a brother with you, but I forgot. Wait a second. This is a reality. And there are other things that women can't do. And it has to be a man's touch on it. And a man's perception on it. That's why they work together. They do what? They work together. But we start infringing on one person's, then everything goes wrong. So to start off, the role of a woman in building and maintaining a community, we say from the starting places, is the household. A strong household produces strong children. Strong children will produce strong community members, future imams. Everybody understand this? Scientists, engineers, athletes, or whatever the case may be. A bad home, a weak home, a fragmented home, I don't think we have to spend too much time talking about that. The single parent home and the effects and the vices and the ills. How many people go to crime and all types of bad things because of what? Fragmented home. And that leads us to another discussion. That's the discussion of divorce and divorce rates. But we don't have no time to get into that right now. Another very important role of the woman in building and maintaining a community is as a wife. Not a mother, but a wife. And a wife, inside of that role, there's several sub-roles. This woman is your companion, your friend. She's your advisor. She's your lover. She's all of these different things wrapped up and molded up into one. And at the end of the day, she's also your what? Sister in faith. She's your sister in faith. So how do you treat the closest brother to you? Your best friend, your closest friend, blood brother or not. If I ask, how is Fulan with you? That's my man. How often do you fight and argue? We never fight and argue. How many times you got into a fist fight with your closest companion, Naeem? How many times? Maybe once or twice perhaps over something, but then after that, you wipe up the blood or he wipes up the blood, whatever. You get that. I'll squash that, man. Forget that. He was tripping. Right or wrong? You get a little angry, you get a little upset, but after that's your close friend, you make up quickly. And you can count on the one hand how many times you got to a physical altercation with your right hand man. Don't make this up. You can count on your hand. But if we said how many times have you got to a physical altercation with your wife? Some brothers may need right hand, right foot, left foot. You may have to pull out an abacus, huh? Calculator. This is reality. How often do I get a phone call? Me and my wife fought. My wife hit me. I hit my wife. He punched me. He hit me. He kicked me. He spit on me. He threw me down the steps. And this woman is supposed to be your what? Companion. Friend. Everybody understand this? How many secrets does your closest friend know about you? Passcodes, account information, stash houses, locations, Sheikh Mahdi says, anything go wrong, come to this house, in the basement, make a left, That's whatever you need. That's what? That's whatever you need. To get me out of the jam, to get you out of the jam, and Allah knows best what else is in this box. The hump is under this doghouse. This is reality. Or in the back of this freezer, this hidden compartment. Because that's your closest what? Friend that you trust. How much trust do you have in your wife? How many secrets does your wife know about you? You have a passcode on your phone, on this, on that. Everything's secret and secure from your wife. And it's supposed to be the woman who's supposed to be your what? Close companion. Obviously something's what? Something's wrong. We're not saying that's haram to have a passcode on your phone from your wife. I'm not saying that. Don't misquote me on that. But everybody get the point we're trying to say is that there has to be some type of transparency there. Everybody understand this? And oftentimes, I'm no expert on the topic, okay? I'm no expert on this. But we all know is that if it's an issue of infidelity, you cheating, or you're trying to get a second wife, or this and that, it hurts for a woman. But oftentimes, the thing that hurts the most is that you kept a secret from me. 3 years went by, 7 years went by, and I thought that I knew you as a person. And you lived a double life. You lived a different life. You're not the person I actually fell in love with. I thought that I knew. The actual fact that you were interested in another woman, you slept with another woman, that's bad enough. But the woman, she says, I can what? I can work on that a bit. Allah can forgive you, but the concept of trust, you didn't even trust me. You hid this thing from me. Everybody understand this? So the point that we're trying to get to is that we have the mother, we have the wife, and we said that the wife, she has several sub-roles. A friend, a companion, a sister in Islam, someone that you love, someone that you sleep with, someone that you eat with, and someone that knows the secrets that no other brother in the masjid is supposed to know. Everybody understand this? Now, with regards to the sisters that come into the masjid, what is their role? Your role, sister, as he said yesterday, is to send out the text messages. Please come to the masjid. Bring your niece, bring your sister, bring your co-worker. And the sister comes to the masjid, she's a little ignorant. And when we say ignorant, we don't mean it in a negative way. Like we say in our culture, he's ignorant, meaning rude. You're what? You're rude, you're crude, you don't hold your tongue. No, we mean ignorant, lacking information. It's two usages of the word ignorance in our tongue. Someone is ignorant, meaning what? Behaving ignorantly, like a fool. And then we have ignorant, meaning what? Someone that's a good person, has good character, but what? Lacks information. So you have a sister that lacks a little information. If I ask right now, Sister Philana, you have a full overgarment in this masjid. How many other sisters don't have a full overgarments? How many other sisters don't know the proper hijab? Or know it but need to be reminded? Have you reminded them? Have you sat down with them, had a cup of coffee, and just tell them straight up, Sister Philana, I love you for Allah's sake, take one of my overgarments. I read in the book, I learned in the lecture that you can't dress like this. You can't wear these earrings outside the household. Why do that? That's a major role that women play in the masjid, and most masjids that you go to, women, they don't necessarily do this. And if they do give advice, if they do enjoin the good and forbid the evil, then in most cases it's harsh, it's rude, and it's nasty, and the sister feels what? She doesn't feel welcome in the masjid. Oh, she got on a red overgarment. SubhanAllah. She got her ears out, her feet out. She got makeup on, mascara on her eyes. Her face isn't covered. That's wrong. And you'd be shocked. You sit down and you talk to her, she just doesn't know. Just like it's the obligation of the brothers to give advice. As the Prophet ﷺ told Junayd radiallahu anhu when he gave him the bay'ah. He says, Bay'atu Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, iqam as-salah, ita zakah, wa nushi li kulli muslim. Imam al-Bukhari narrated that he said, I gave the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam the bay'ah, the oath of allegiance. I swore to protect him, to fight and to die, to establish the prayer, to give the zakah, and to give advice to each and every Muslim. Every Muslim deserves transparency. Like this, what? It's crystal here. See this crystal? Inside of this water. I can see you from behind. You can what? See me. The cup of tea is what? It's not necessarily transparent. It's shaded. It's colored. But this is what? Right through. So if I see you doing something wrong, saying something wrong, you just don't know, and I don't say nothing to you at all, that shows that I'm hiding something from you, and I lack transparency. So a very important characteristic of a Muslim sister in Islam and in the community is to be transparent. Give your sister advice. If you can't speak well, then give her a book, give her a tape. Steer her in the direction of someone that can. Be gentle, be merciful, and at the same time be firm. And the same applies to the husband. As we said, the woman, the wife is supposed to be an advisor. The process of he listens to the advice of his wife, his wives. Who's the first person to advise Muhammad? Ali radiallahu anhu, Bilal, Abu Bakr Siddiq, Mus'ab ibn Umayr, Ammar, Warqa ibn Nawfal. Who was the first person to advise the Prophet? Khadija. And did she do it in a soft, simple way, or was she firm and resolute? No doubt. She said, Kalla, la yukhzika Allah abadan. She says, no, nay. Allah will never humiliate you. Never. Because you do this, you do that, so on and so forth. The very first person to strengthen the Prophet was a woman. And when the Prophet went to Medina, and the different things that took place in other hadith in which he listened to his wives, because they advised him. But advice is one thing, a command is another. Advice is one thing, badgering, disrespecting, slighting, and spiting, that's what? That's a different story. Everybody understand this? So the sister who comes into the masjid physically or is online, she has a role to play in building this community. And that is physical attendance. It's not haram for a woman to come to the masjid. Rather, the Prophet ﷺ allowed it. And it was well known that women weren't in his masjid. He said, La tamna'u Allah masajid Allah. He says, don't prevent Allah's handmaidens. Don't prevent Allah, the amatullah. Don't prevent the female servants of Allah from coming to Allah's houses. And he also said, إِذَا اسْتَأْذَنَتِ امْرَأَةُ أَحَدِكُمْ إِلَى الْمَسْجِدِ فَلَا يَمْنَعْهَا. He says, when one of your wives asks permission to go to the masjid, don't stop her. But the Prophet said he made restrictions. He gave guidelines. He gave instruction not to come to the masjid in a specific way, in a haphazard way, dressed properly with the proper akhlaq, the proper adab, not wearing perfume, and the list goes on. So there are rules. So we cannot go extreme. And the people who say that, Bismillah. The people who say that what? The people who say that the people are just too harsh in this masjid, too mean. And in reality, people are not necessarily mean and harsh, but they're trying to be religious. They want to practice the deen. Or they're trying to be like Arabs in this masjid. They're like Arabs. The people there forgotten their culture. They're not really black anymore. They have crisis of identity. And then we have the other side of extremism, for the people who just want everything to be, as we say, kumbaya. Sit, laugh, hug, kiss, clap, shake hands, sit, laugh, and joke. It doesn't matter. And it's just a big party in the masjid. And the rulings, the etiquettes of men and of women are ignored with regards to free mixing, with regards to lowering the gaze, and with regards to just being flirtatious and too open. Everybody says there has to be a balance. It has to be a balance. Not too harsh, not nasty or rude, and at the same time not totally lax and just don't care about anything. As we said in the beginning of the what? Of the lecture. So therefore, with that being said, the sister who comes to the masjid, and she should not be prevented from coming to the masjid with the proper conditions, as we've said, with the proper conditions. You have a duty when you come into this masjid. The first duty, in my humble advice, before we begin to advising other sisters, is to make sure you learn yourself. You listen yourself. You come to the masjid to hear the khutbah, to hear the class, not just to see Sister Fulana, or to advise Sister Fulana. But make sure that you save your own self before what? Anybody else. Then once you get that knowledge, you get the proper fiqh, the proper understanding, pass them on to your sisters in Islam who come, and invite others who come. And see what can be done at the masjid. Do we have an imam here? If I asked you right now, who's the imam in the masjid? How can you have an army with no leader? Sheikh Mahdi. I'm asking you, what country is there an army with no leader? Huh? How can you say we don't have any man? You just have a bunch of brothers, they just, That doesn't make too much sense. The Prophet said he informed us when we go on a trip to make a safar. To do what? Take an imam on a journey. Not on a what? A community. The Prophet says, now, what are the two lead you in the salah? So the concept of leadership, the concept of what can be done to the masjid physically, what can we do to make the appearance of the masjid better, more comfortable, more welcoming? What programs can we make? I have a suggestion. Let's have this conference. Let's have this workshop. Let's have this barbecue. Let's have this fundraiser. Let's network like that. You can't leave that all up to men, because a man is going to forget. A man is say, so what? Who cares? Or a man, he may be too busy doing what? Other things. So these are all from the roles of a Muslim woman and building, and also what? Maintaining the masjid. Things are getting sloppy. Things are lax with the brothers, with the sisters. Advice needs to be given. Things need to be suggested. Why can that? Everybody understand this? So in the next ta'ala, perhaps we'll try to take some of the questions now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. We ask Him to allow us to establish this community and all communities solely for His sake. Ameen. We ask Allah to be worthy and to have the honor of maintaining these communities. Allahumma ameen. We ask Allah to make us of those who have pure and sincere tawheed. Ameen. We ask Him subhanahu wa ta'ala to be of those who follow and respect the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. We ask Him to make us merciful and kind to each other, because if we are merciful and kind to each other, we will help each other out and give the necessary advice. هذا صلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد وجزاكم الله خيرا. Can we get a cup, please? Start off with these on paper first.
Anybody got any questions before we get into the papers? The paper questions?
Labas. First question says, what dua is recommended to make for a sick child? And before we move any further, I don't know if this is mirrored, this here. We say as a public disclaimer, once and for all, we drink with what? The right hand. So anybody online watching the video, because it happened more than once,
yes,
several times, in which the camera is in the front. Now it's mirrored, it's flipped, and it appears as if you're drinking on the what?
your left hand.
Aywa. So instead of saying that the pocket is on the right and the board in the back is backwards, before we get into all of that, you're hearing it from the camel's mouth right now. I just drunk with my what?
Right hand.
Everybody got this? Al-Yumna, the right hand. They just drunk with the what? Right hand. Everybody understand this? We live in a time where we say vultures, the vulture culture, in which people will listen to an hour class, a series, and no benefit, just to say, he drunk with his left hand. Or he said this and he said that. Everybody understand this? Scavengers. Now people want to hunt and actually eat the fresh meat, but they want a carcass. Something rotten, putrid. Unfortunately. Or some people say trolls. Khayr, inshallah. So therefore we jump with what?
Right hand.
With right hand. But now that you want to get into the issue, Shaykh Abdul Ali, on the ruling of drinking with the left hand. And what do the ulama of Islam say about that? We're not even going to get into that. Khayr, inshallah. So, question says, What dua is recommended to make for a sick child? We said we have two things, two aspects of supplications here. The first is prevention, and the second is cure. The Prophet ﷺ, he used to kana yu'awwidh. He would make the ta'weed. He would ask Allah's protection and refuge for the children, for his children, some of his grandchildren, before they were afflicted by sickness, afflicted by the ayn. As far as making dua for a child or anyone, any Muslim, after sickness has actually fallen, then be that ta'ala, the dua that you make for a grown person as well. The dua that you make for a grown person as well. Asking Allah to uplift them, to relieve them from the sickness, and also the dua for visiting the sick, old or small. Wallah, that's in brief. Says, when you miss the Fajr Salah, do you have until sunrise to make it, or is there no way to make it up once you missed it? It seems as if the person misses the Salah by accident. They overslept, or they didn't hear the alarm clock, whatever the case may be. Whenever you remember it, make it, as the Prophet ﷺ told us. Whenever you remember it, whenever you're awake, pray. The sun is rising, before shuruk, before ishraq, whatever the case, whatever you call it, duha, whatever the time is, when you are up, you're awake, you miss the fajr, pray. And you don't necessarily have to wait until the sun has risen, and until the time for ishraq or du'a. Question says, if a husband does not fulfill the rights of a wife, is there a set amount of time she should give him to fulfill the rights? According to Quran and Sunnah, yes and no. Certain rights, there is a period. Certain rights are to be demanded and requested immediately. It depends on what the issue is. An issue that he can change, that he chooses to neglect and ignore, or an issue in which he actually has a problem. He actually has a sickness, an illness. He needs help. Physically, mentally, he needs help. It's a different story. So that which is in his clutch, in his power, he can do, then she should demand them immediately. And if she wants to be patient and submit to Allah's decree and put her total reliance in Allah, then that's her option as well. As far as that which requires time, a medical condition, a mental condition, and she loves her husband, does not want to be separated from her husband, and she's willing to be patient upon this shortcoming, then that's also what's best for her. Right, what I'm saying? So it depends on the problem. As far as this issue of money, is he working? If he's out of employment, that's one thing. He's out of employment, that's what? That's one thing. But he has money. He buys $400 sneakers. And he says, I really don't have that much money like that. Sorry. I want to make, she says what? Beef stroganoff for dinner. Alright? He says, I don't have no money for meat. You gotta wait, be patient. The Salaf, they eat noodles. They need meat. He says, Imam Ahmed, they need meat. Brothers, they say things like this. But he just bought what? A rare edition, sneakers. That's a different story. This is very common. That's a different story. Brothers looking for a job. He's trying to get a job. That's a different story. That's what? It's a different story. And the same applies to a physical condition or a mental condition as well. Wallahu a'lam. Question says, why is Allah referred to as He? The question was asked by a Christian. Why is Allah referred to as He? As He. It's asked by a Christian. I would say the best answer to that is Christianity. In your book, the actual scripture, gospel, New Testament, Old Testament, the interpretation of the wise learned men, ask them, what does God refer to in the books of Christ? Or the Bible? She or He? So I asked that question there. That's what I would say. As far as the Islamic perspective, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. Allah says, قُلْ, that Allah is what? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Allahu Samad. What's next? لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. So that's the description of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is one. He is a Samad. He begets not. He has, etc. That's what we believe as Muslims. We don't have to go no further or deeper than that. Allah referred to Himself as He. Next question says, just want it to be known, this was not Salih's question. Khayr, inshallah. Khayr, inshallah. Next question says, Allah is Akbar, Is the coffee Tamir? Which one? Khayr. Cream and sugar? You got cream and sugar or no? No problem, Sheikh. Allah bless. Bismillah. Says, is it the man's responsibility to provide financially for the woman to decorate the house like she wants? If he pays for it, he thinks it is supposed to be done how he wants. Does she have to come up with the money if she wants certain things? My advice is this, which I already gave my opinion, which is based off of things. Okay? But just to say that it's big is my opinion, okay? If it was me, this is what I would do in the long run. I would work my job or my 2 jobs, my overtime, or whatever is my source of income. And whether I gave the money to my wife or she asked me for it, tafaddali, you got it. Decorate it as you like. As long as it isn't something that's unacceptable to me. Something I just do not like at all. Very difficult and uncomfortable for me to live in a house in which we have this type of window like this. Or let's say, for example, if something tragic and traumatic happened to me as a child, and whenever I see the color red, I cringe. I think by the time when I was bleeding to death, I can't have red in the house. It's a different story. That's what? Different story. My wife's favorite color is red. She wants red this, red that, red that. And red, I have a problem with red. If that's not the case, bismillah. And from time to time, said, maybe we can get an orange couch. I like orange couches. That's with mutual respect, mutual understanding. But the general concept is that the woman is raya to date. She's supposed to be what? The shepherd of the household. She's supposed to be the one who handles the intricacies of the household. That's the general rule, right, Issa? In general. And what? In general. Everybody understand this now? Just look at it like this. Look at it like an army, guys. Look at it like war. What do the books of military strategy tell us? What does Sun Tzu say? Talking about the successful general. He says, he will win who is not interfered with by the sovereign. He will win. The general in the field will win. Who has the liberty, the autonomy to do what he needs to do on the field. This is the emperor. This is the sovereign, the king, the leader. The one who's in charge of the state. Everybody understand this? He overlooks these different things. He is not an expert in the affairs of warfare and combat. The moment he sticks his nose and fiddles and plays with this and do it like that, there's going to be what? He's not respecting the general's expertise. The general, the colonel, the commander is an expert. He's trained in this. This is my life. This is what I do. I eat, sleep, and war strategy. That's it. You have to deal with politics, finances, people, faith, this, that, 50 other things. This is what I do. So therefore, the job of the sovereign, he said, is to give general instructions. General what? General instructions. We want to go to war here. The campaign shouldn't take no longer than this. This is what I have to offer you. You get it done. As far as interfering with the specifics of someone else's expertise, that's going to be disastrous. Everybody understand that the point we're trying to get to here is that right now the woman she's an expert in this. Don't interfere. Don't what? Don't interfere. You give advice, you can help out, but don't what? Don't interfere in the specifics and then you start advice. So if she's going to decorate the house, it shouldn't be a thing, if you want it that way, then you pay for it yourself. It shouldn't be like that. If you have the means, that's important. If you don't have the means, that's a different story. It's a different story. She wants something very, very expensive and fancy. He said, I can't afford that. I have the money in the bank, but I can't afford it. That's out of our budget. But I'm not going to stop you. If you want this designer thing, you got it. But if you want me to provide for and pay for it, then I only can give what I want. What I have. Is that sensible, Sheikh?
Yes, sir.
But if you do have the means, why not? That's my advice. Well, hopefully it makes sense, the example we're trying to make, huh? Does that make sense, Jake? Next question says, Assalamu alaikum. My question comes from the truth from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of reckoning. Yawm Qiyamah. Only the religion of Islam will be accepted on that day. However, he makes an exception not on religion, but individuals who are mentally ill, underage, without understanding. Says, I believe, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He will be fair and just, for He is the best knower. Allahu A'lam. Alhamdulillah, I believe in what Allah says. How does a person who's known nothing but oppression, I can expound if you like. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's important is, وَلَا يَظْلِمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا. Allah tells us, and your Lord oppresses no one. Your Lord, Allah speaks to Muhammad directly. He says, وَلَا يَظْلِمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا. Your Lord, or Muhammad, oppresses no one. So Allah is not going to oppress anyone. No one's going to be punished and rendered into the terrible fire of hell, except for that which their hands put forth. And they knew and they understood what they were doing. Those who died before the age of adolescence, those non-Muslims who didn't hear about Islam, didn't know about Islam. Somebody may even say, I'm not saying this, somebody may even say, someone who heard about Islam, but it wasn't the proper Islam, the true Islam. Islam is the religion of terror and violence, misogyny, and this and that, and so on and so on and so forth. What's important is Allah does not punish anyone unjustly. وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. Allah says, and your Lord, Allah says, وَمَا كُنَّا, we do not punish until we send a messenger. And Allah tells us, وَإِذَا أَرَدْنَا أَن نُهْلِكَ قَرْيَةً أَمَرْنَا مُتْرَفِيهَا فَفَسَقُوا فِيهَا فَحَقَّ عَلَيْهَا الْقَوْلُ فَدَمَّرْنَاهَا تَدْمِيرًا وَكَمْ أَهْلَكْنَا مِنَ الْقُرُونِ مِن بَعْدِ نُوحٍ. Al-Ayah. Allah says, and whenever we want to destroy a town, we command the mutrafin, the people of luxury and extravagance, the wicked evildoers, because in most cases, not all the time, but in most cases, wealth and luxury is associated with pride, conceit, and standing on the backs of others. In most cases, not all the time. And in most cases, excessive wealth and luxury leads to consumption of intoxicants and so on and so forth. So Allah says, whenever we want to destroy a qarya, a town, we give an order and a command to those arrogant, prideful, haughty people. فَفَسَقُوا فِيهَا. They disobey, they reject, they make a mockery, they make a fun. فَحَقَّ عَلَيْهَا الْقَوْلُ. Allah says, and the word proves true on them, that it's time to be what? Wiped out. So Allah clearly tells us the people who are wiped out and destroyed in this life or in hereafter are those who are wicked and evil. And an ignorant person who doesn't know, who doesn't have the option to know, the chance to know, is not going to be wicked and evil. Everybody understand? So Allah doesn't punish anyone that doesn't know that which is correct and then chooses that which is wrong. Whether it's a far-fetched land, remote jungle, someone that's young of the age, or whatever the case may be. As far as the technical issue regarding children of the kuffar, children of the mushrikeen, that's a very long, extensive argument among the ulama of Islam. Some of them say the children of the mushrikeen who die, their children, will be the servants of Jannah. They'll be the servants of Jannah. Some of them say they'll be in Jannah, the young children. Some of them, they say, they will be with their fathers and parents, while they ever be alive. And some of them say, only Allah knows where they will go. And others, they say, they'll be resurrected, and they'll be given the option. They'll have the full ability to think and to know. They'll be shown Islam. If they choose the correct way, they will go to Jannah. And if they choose the incorrect way, then they will go where they are decreed to go. Wallahu a'lam. Next question says, if the Muslim man marries a Christian woman, how does a man implement an Islamic household? What is your advice in this situation? It goes back to a few principles. And from those principles is that The man is supposed to be the imam of the household, the breadwinner, the hunter-gatherer. The man is the bodyguard of the household. The man is one paying the bills, maintaining the household. The man is the one who is supposed to be the protector and the dominant. If that's the case, obviously, when a man buys everything the woman has, protects her, gives her her rights, treats her kindly, at the same time is firm, it's going to be very difficult for her to just do whatever she wants to do. Muslim or Christian. Muslim what? Or Christian. But the woman pays half of the bills. She pays all of the bills. It's her house. That's a different story. That's a what? It's a total different story. So the whole concept of marriage, the whole concept of old-fashioned American values has to be looked into and reinvestigated. If you have a household in which you provide everything for your wife, you consider to be what? A bit what? A bit outdated. A bit prehistoric. Just a bit. Everybody says my wife doesn't work. My wife is a homemaker, a housemaker. It's a minority in the times that we live in today. And the proof that it's a minority is look at the different cookbooks and the videos and the stuff online on YouTube, in which people make forums in groups teaching proper etiquette, teaching how to bake a cherry pie, teaching how to knit and how to sew. Because those skills, which used to be what? Is now a what? Novelty. It's not a what? It's not a novelty. Everybody understand this? It's not a novelty. So that's the sunnah of the Prophet. الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. Allah says, men are not the qa'imun. He says, qawwamuna. They are those who stand, who are protectors, maintainers of women. Why? Because men are stronger, men are smarter, men are better planners, men can beat women up, shut up, and listen to what I say. Woman is what the average person thinks when they read this verse in the Quran. And they automatically have a negative glass that they're looking through. And they start thinking about misogyny, chauvinistic, this, and that. That's the first thing. But that's not what Allah says. Bima fadlallahu. Because what Allah is the one who said He gave preference of one sex over the other. If you have a problem with that, sister in Islam, maybe you need to go get another religion. Islam may not be for you. Islam may not be the religion for you if you have the audacity and you feel that you have the right to question Allah. And we're not talking about no distorted Christian scripture in which someone is using the words of God to dominate somebody else. Everybody understand this? No, we're talking about the Quran al-Kareem that has been preserved. Bina faddalallahu. Allah gave the tafdeel. Allah made preference. Allah then says, وَبِمَا أَنْفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. And because of the wealth that they spend. So this tells us is that even if Allah has given one sex preference over the other, if they don't spend the wealth, then they lose at least half of their qiyamah. They lose at least what? At least half of their guardianship. Muslim or Christian, both. You have a Muslim wife, she's a Muslim. You want your household to be a household of dhikr. I want to come in, I want to hear music. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this program. I want to hear the Quran. I want to hear the hadith being read. I want these books in my library. I don't want these non-Muslim people in my household. I don't want your non-Muslim family members coming over dressed, walking half naked. Don't bring no alcohol to my house. I don't care what type of party your family get together you have. Don't bring no alcohol in my home. And she's a Muslim. She says, La ilaha illallah Rasulullah. But I want to listen to music. I want to watch this video. I want to read this magazine. I want to have this swimwear magazine in my house. I want to have my mother come over. She brings a case of beer. My sister comes over. She just graduated from law school. She brings some nice fine wine and champagne. You know, I'm not drinking it, but they're drinking it. And he says no. He says what? He says no. So a husband, he may have an Islamic household with a what? A Muslim wife. With a what? With a Muslim wife. Everybody understand this? Let alone with a non-Muslim wife. And one of the reasons, there's several reasons, but one of the reasons is that he's not spending the wealth. Listen, everything in his house is mine. Every bill, gas, electric, cable, whatever you want to say, I pay for. I work hard. I sweat and I break my back for you to be comfortable. The least you can do is respect my wishes. Is this not the case? When you're a young teenager, running wild, you want to smoke, you want to drink, you want to chase girls, you want to bring girls to the house, your father says, don't do that. Yeah, whatever. You get caught, you get this and that. What's your father tell you about? You say, but you don't want to do it. What does your father then tell you? He gives you an ultimatum. He says what? There you go. If you don't want to follow my rules, that's what? That's fine. You don't have to follow my rules. But you now have to do what? Leave. You're not going to stay under my roof, eat my food, drink my water, juice, and coffee, and disrespect and disobey me. So the only reason why you have to listen to your father, whether it makes sense or not, whether it's right or not, whether it's fair or not, is because you don't want to follow his what? All of the bills. You don't contribute to nothing. And you want to disobey me? I said, don't bring no girls to this house. I said, don't smoke in my house. Basement, attic, don't smoke no weed in my house. You want to smoke weed. So therefore you get what? Kicked out. Or your mother does what? She kicks you out of home. 16, 17, 18. That's fine. You don't want to listen? You have to fend for yourself. The only reason why you have to obey your mother or your father in these rules is because of what? One thing, and that thing is what? Because what? No, it's not the word of Allah and His messenger. Because what? Cheese, cream. They pay for everything. So that is the foundation. So many brothers, they have their wives working, public assistance or this or that, whatever the case may be, and then they wish to have full dominance. It doesn't work like that. Whether it's a Muslim or a Christian. Last but not least, before we stop, because I know we're running out of time.
We got one question from Hong Kong.
Tight. And Shalom. Before we get there, is my advice on the situation is you can't marry a Christian woman unless the Christian woman knows the rules. Unless she's willing to obey and follow the rules. She says, I like Muslim men, right, Sheikh Mahdi? That's what she said. Muslim men are protective. They have jealousy for their women. They respect their women. They're clean. They're nice. They're strong. They don't smoke. They don't drink. They don't cheat around. They're good men. I would like to have a husband like that. But I'm not ready to convert or revert. I believe Jesus is Lord, she says. I still want to be a Jew. But I don't disrespect to his religion. I'm willing to be his wife, give him his rights. Whatever he wants in his household, I won't hang up no crucifix. I won't play no gospel songs in his home. I just want him to be my husband. We'll have children, the children that follow your religion. No problem. I need someone that's going to look after me, take care of me, give me love and time and affection and attention and protect me. I was beat up, I was abused, I was cheated on. Now I want a good, wholesome man, and no other place better than a Muslim man. And if she comes into the situation with those conditions and that understanding, Bismillah. As far as, no, the kid's going to be Christian, or the kid's going to choose their own religion, or I can't hang up a cross. I have my own prayer room in the house. Or we'll say Allah and Jesus, you know, God is God. As she said yesterday, God is good all the time. Christian lady kept saying it to me. That's the problem. And if you're not strong enough religiously, financially, physically, mentally, to say it is an unfair deal. Yes, Tamir. So what? It's an unfair deal. There is no 50-50. No. In this household is only Islam. My children can only be Muslims. I'll treat you kindly as a woman. You don't have to get into no philosophical debates in the household about Jesus and Allah. You have your faith. Lakum dinukum waliy din. As a wife, you'll be treated more than fairly. But as far as a 50-50 deal with religion, no. If she agrees to that, not less. If she does not agree to that, then it's going to be a disaster. You marry a Christian or Jewish woman. Not a problem, not a mistake. It's going to be what? A calamity for you and for your children. Allah knows best. Follow. Please mention the name and what is the location?
This is from Tahir Rabbina. She's from Hong Kong. And she asked, she said, Assalamu alaikum.
I'm Tahir Rabana from Hong Kong. I wanted to ask regarding praying on time. Be dutiful to your parents. Which one is more important? As my mom tell me to do chores while it's time to pray.
Time. We say, welcome to our brothers and sisters and hadith disciples in the lands of Hong Kong. Jazakallah khairan for taking the time out to ask. I would advise you to give nasiha to your parents, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim. Give them advice. Explain to them the status of the parents in Islam, what the Quran says about the parents and about the mother, and whether you're a Buddhist or a Hindu or whatever religion a person has, atheist, Shinto, whatever religion, you tell them we can agree mutually, parents are to be respected. We can agree on that. And the duty of the child is great. We can agree on that. We can never ever disagree on that. You have a different faith, I have a different faith. But we both agree that I must obey you and respect you and treat you well. There's no difference in opinion about that. However, in order for me to serve you better and to protect you better, to give you your rights better, I have to have a connection with my Lord. Because Allah is the one who told me to respect you and to listen to you. So oftentimes we have non-Muslim family members and they have disobedient sons or uncles, and they'll say, doesn't your Quran say, listen to me? They'll say this. Doesn't the Quran say, treat women kindly, but you beat your wife up? They'll say this. And you also show them the same Quran says, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ كَانَتْ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كِتَابًا مَوْقُوتًا. Prayers at fixed times on the believers, whether your parents are Muslim or not. So you show them, you tell them, the one who told me to listen to you and obey you is the same one who told me to do what? Pray on time. So therefore, there's no clash. The prayer at most takes 5 minutes to make Salat al-Dhuhr. 10 minutes at long, 10 minutes. And then I'll scrub, I'll carry, I'll do whatever you want me to do for your service. Is that not a fair deal? Any sensible parent, Muslim or Christian or whatever, they're going to say what? It's fair. And even deeper than that, if it's an emergency, or if it's something that's very pressing, that's pertinent, it's not haram to delay the salat for 10 minutes when it first comes in. It's not haram to delay the salat for 30 minutes. If there is a need, it's permissible to do that. So let's say hypothetically, it's time to feed your grandmother or your mother, and they're hungry, and they have to take medicine, pills, and they have to eat right now, the food has been prepared. Give them their food. Give them her soup, her bread, serve her, wash her, scrub her feet, whatever it takes. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then you pray. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's never ever a time in which it's going to be a clash. Whether you pray as soon as it comes in, or whether you have to delay the salah for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, or in some cases, maybe you have to delay it for an hour, depending on the what? Situation. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing what? There's nothing wrong with that. If there's mutual respect, everyone can get along. 5 salah, 24 hours out of the day. It doesn't take you more than an hour to pray all 5 salah, if that. That's not fair enough. You get 23 hours only. And my Lord, your Lord, all he has to have what? That's my advice. Wrapping up, says here, says Muhammad, what comforting and encouraging words can you provide to a woman that may lose her child due to severe illness? Hadiths with an S initial. So clearly, Salih's handwriting, her penmanship, undisguisable penmanship, mashallah. Let alone she said Muhammad. Right now you're my little brother. It's not Sheikh Muhammad Mufti, you're what? Muhammad. Everyone know that. I'm your biggest sister no matter what. Allah Mustan. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, as Abu Sa'id al-Khudri narrated in Sahih Bukhari, that one day a woman came to the Prophet ﷺ, or some women, and they said, غَلَبَكَ عَلَيْنَا الرِّجَالِ. They said, the men have dominated you, O Messenger of Allah. The men are beginning to monopolize you. They've taken you from us. We have no time with you to sit, to learn, and to hear the Quran and your words because of the what? The Sahaba. This is also an important hadith for our topic as well. So these women, they said, so listen carefully. She says, give us half an hour. No, she says, give us a day. One day in which we can have you and no one else. Give us specific, special time and attention. So the Prophet, ﷺ, he promised them such and such a day, the narrator said. And when that day came, they met and they sat with him. They met and they sat with him. And he told them, مِمَّا عَلَّمَهُ اللَّهُ, Hadith says, from that which Allah taught him. And in the end of the narration, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, مَا مِنْ امْرَأَةٍ, he says, there isn't a woman who loses, he says, تَفْقِدُ اثْنَيْنِ مِنْ أَوْلَادِهَا أو ثلاثة من أولادها إلا كانوا لها حجابا من النار. Or كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. He says, any woman who loses 3 children, meaning miscarriage, except that they will protect her from the fire of hell. And then they asked him, he says, what name? What about 2? He says, وَاثْنَيْنِ وَاثْنَيْنِ وَاثْنَيْنِ. He says, even 2, even 2, even 2. And in other narrations as well, that they even state 1 child being lost. So a woman who loses a child due to miscarriage, she's patient, she has accepted the qadr, she doesn't scream and curse Allah, scratch her face, rip her clothes, she submits to what our Lord has decreed. It hurts her, emotions, not harm for her to hurt and to cry and to weep, but she does not disrespect Allah Azza wa Jalla, then she will be protected from the fire of hell. Wallahu a'lam. And there are other hadiths as well. Last but not least, so we have just these last 2. It says, what is the appropriate way to explain or defend Islam to non-believers who, due to the way the media portrays us, have questions concerning our way of life? The proof is in the pudding. Muslims are terrorists. Muslims all beat their wives, honor killings. Muslims blow things up. How long have I been your neighbor? You ask your Christian, how long have we lived together? How long have you been my employee? How long have I been your employee? How long have I been working with you? How long have we played on this team? How long? Did I blow you up yet? Did I kill you, say you're an infidel, and your wife is now my sex slave? We've been neighbors for 20 years. So what are you going to do? You're going to take the propaganda on the news, or go with your 20 years of living with me as a neighbor, who mowed your lawn, shoveled your sidewalk, someone tried to break into your house, I had to deal with them, or call the cops, so Allah knows best. We saw the sign in the store. What did the sign say, Sheikh Mahdi? It says, we don't dial 911. That's what the sign said for someone's yard. We don't what? So we don't dial the cops. We don't call the cops here. What's important is that how can you throw away 20 years, 30 years, 10 years, 5 years of you meeting a Muslim family, what you see on the television? That doesn't make any what? It doesn't make any sense. In my humble opinion, keep things brief because we run out of time. No we wish to disrespect our brother Abdullah. Allah yahfadhu, may Allah preserve him. When it's his time, inshallah, to speak is coming. Is what? Is, let's just use common sense now. Does a real thorough, wise, thorough-minded Christian or non-Muslim talk like this? The most of the kuffar that you come across in the store, what do they do, Sheikh Mahdi? All the time they come, what do they do? Say hello, how are you, where you from? They make a joke. I'm wearing everything that a Muslim wears. Big beard. People, they look at in most cases, a smile. Clean. You have your wife, your children, you're a family man. You have values, you have respect. You're a gentleman. That's what people really look at and consider, that are thorough people. As for a weak, simple-minded person who just worships the television screen, that you can never ever convince them. No matter what you tell them. What the Quran says. If you tell them that the Bible is more violent than the Quran, there are more verses in the Bible about killing and warfare and infidels than in the Quran, they're still not going to believe it. But a thorough person that has good common sense, regardless of faith, is going to say, you can say whatever you want to say about the Muslims. Muslims are good guys. They're honest, they're clean, they're family people, they're nice people, they're good customers. Some of my best customers are Muslims at my store. What are you talking about? Go ahead with that nonsense. And if that is a Muslim that's doing that, then that's in some land in which is some other issue or problem. But the Muslims I know in South Carolina, they're what? Some of the most thorough people that I know. You can't convince someone that is bent on being a fool. You can't what? Convince a person who's what? Who's bent on being a fool. That's my advice. Well, the last question says, how can we correct the disconnection or disconnected, it says here, between knowledge, iman, and action. Or it says here, how can we connect or correct connect things between knowledge, iman, and action? Meaning, we have knowledge, but we do not implement. So our knowledge is our something, and action, character and action. What's important is to realize the only reason behind seeking knowledge is action. Knowledge is not to be sought for your fancy. It's not to be sought just to pile up into a mass. The only purpose of knowledge is to benefit from that knowledge. And if you don't benefit from the knowledge, then you become an ass that has a load of books on his back. كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا. Allah says, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِلُوا التَّوْرَاةَ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا. He says, the similitude of those who were entrusted with the Torah, instructed with the Torah, they were given the Torah, ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا, and they didn't implement it, they didn't act upon it, then they're no better than donkeys. Do donkeys read and study and memorize? No, they don't. It's considered to be a dumb, slow animal. And even worse than that is a mule. Everybody understand this? So the mule, the donkey, they carry all of this great weight on his back, and it can't benefit from one letter. And that's the similitude of a Muslim who knows but continues to behave ignorantly, continues to behave sinfully, and they just don't care. All that knowledge is not a proof for you, but it's a proof against you. As the Prophet ﷺ said, he says in the Quran, Hujjatun, he says it's either a proof for you or Hujjatun alayka, or a proof against you. And the Quran will be means of raising others and demoting and debasing others. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَرْفَعُ بِهَذَا الْكِتَابِ أَقْوَامًا وَيَضَعُ بِهِ آخَرِينَ. The Quran will raise some and lower others. So the only purpose behind knowledge is to implement it, is to act upon it, and to teach it, and to spend it. It's like money. People that are happy and they go to sleep at night are those who have wealth and they spend their wealth. They're generous with their wealth. They spend it on themselves, their family members, they have parties, they have charity. The one who is a miser, a Scrooge as we say in our culture, he has all of their wealth. He doesn't care about the orphans or the poor or the widows. Let them do what I did to get the money. It's mine, I earned it. A person doesn't have a miserable life, and he doesn't have a happy life, he's miserable. So the same is with regards to ilm, knowledge. Knowledge is only sought to be acted upon, to be taught, and to be spread and given out for free to the people. That's in brief. Obviously, it's a very long discussion with regards to the importance of acting upon ilm. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla by His beautiful names and perfect attributes to forgive us of our sins. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, to have mercy upon our poor souls in this life and the grave and when we stand in the resurrection. Alhamdulillah, thank you very much for your time, your attention, and your respect. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put the truth upon the tongue of Shaykh Abdullahi, to allow him to benefit you, to help you, and to, inshallah ta'ala, enlighten you from that which Allah Azza wa Jalla has enlightened him. وهذا سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.